Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope you guys are having a great day today. For this week's video, we are checking out the brand new pedal from Mooer. It's the Preamp Live. Now, of course, we're going to give you guys a detailed rundown of the Preamp Live and give you guys a bunch of different sound samples, but in broad strokes, the Preamp Live is basically a multi-effects unit for preamps. Now, the Preamp Live has three different banks. You have your red bank, your green bank, and your yellow bank. And for each one of the banks, you have 4 different foot switches, which you can program for a specific amp, which is really, really cool. And then when you want to go into your boost mode, you simply just tap the pedal again and you see it lights up red. So really, really cool stuff. Let's take a listen to some sounds. All right, you guys, now let's go through some tones. Now I've set up my Preamp Live so that channel 1 is clean, channel 2 is light breakup, channel 3 is sort of a gritty rhythm sound, and channel 4 is high gain. Now we also have to bear in mind that there's a boost function for every single one of those patches, so lots of tones to be had. So I'm going to be controlling the Preamp Live with my phone, which is really cool. We'll talk about that later in the review, but that's what I'm doing when I'm looking down here. So our first channel is the US Classic Clean. This is number 17, and it's just a sort of clean and pristine. So really nice, clean, pristine sound. Let's go on to number 2. Now, my second channel on the red bank is the US Classic Overdrive, okay? Sounds like this. Sort of just a nice, smooth breakup sound. So there you go. Let's go on to channel 3. This is the US Gold 100. Now I actually reviewed the individual micro preamp. Really, really cool pedal. So yeah, I really like that one. Let's go on to channel 4. So for patch 4, we have number 23, the Eagle FB channel 2. Now I've set up my green bank in the same way as my red. So clean, breakup, medium gain, high gain. Let's check out those tones. So number 1 is the Black Knight Clean. So let's check that one out. So just a really nice, clean sound. Number 2 for a breakup is the VHS Rhythm. This one's a little bit grittier. Let's check that one out. Patch number 3 is one of my favorite. This one is the Braun sound, and this one just sounds so good to me. So it really nails that kind of classic rock tone. Let's go on to number 4. So number 4 is the Cali JPC. So Now for a yellow bank, I chose the Kali Mark III Deep Clean. It's really more of a breakup tone, but it sounds really good. Here it is. Okay, let's go on to patch 2. Now patch 2 is the two-stone chorale OD. So again, a little bit more bite, but really great sounding preamp. Now number 3 is one of my favorite. This is the Regal Tone Lead. So along with the Braun sound, really, really great tone. Lots of sustain. So just a really smooth lead sound. Sounds really great. And for channel 4, we have our Kali LS channel 2. So just so much sustain. Yeah, it just sounds great. Alright you guys, let's jump in and take a look at the controls on the Preamp Live. So you've got a volume control, 3-band EQ, gain control, and a selectable boost. Now you can select this boost to be pre or post just by depressing the knob. So very cool feature. When the boost is in pre mode, it's going to saturate your sound, fill it out, smooth it out. When it's on post mode, it's going to boost your sound for like a solo. It's going to boost your volume. So you would engage the boost just by simply depressing the switch, and you'll see it's lit up in red. That means you're in boost mode, okay? And it works on whatever foot switch you're on. And of course you can select how much boost very easily just to match your sound. So really cool feature. I love that it's selectable. Now on the middle section here, you've got your master volume. You've got a global presence control, which is really cool because if you take the Preamp Live somewhere and you're going to go through a board or a PA system or maybe a full range cab or whatever the situation is, and you find that it's a little bit too dark, all you have to do is take your global presence, move it up a bit, and that way you don't have to go into each patch and adjust your treble. So really well thought out, or vice versa. If you find it's really like way too bright through the PA, you just take your presence, dial it back, and that's global, so you don't have to go in and fiddle with your patches. So again, just a little feature that's really well thought out. Now moving along, next up is the effects level. So this has got an effects loop right back here, so you could run some of your other favorite gear. Again, really well thought out. It can integrate with whatever pedals you have already, which is awesome. Now the next section of the Preamp Live is really genius. It's a selectable cab sim. So we are using the XLR out to go straight into my computer, and in this case we want the cab sim to be on. But it's selectable, so if you're using a different setup, you could turn it off. And the other output is just a straight 1/4 inch, and you could send that to an amp or another piece of gear, and if you wanted to send it to an amp, you would just click the cab sim off. So really cool. So you could send one signal to your computer, the other signal to your amp, you could blend the two, you could pan them, all sorts of creative ideas to get different tones. So really well thought out again. And finally on the bottom we have our foot switches. So you can load 4 different micro preamps per bank. And as you can see, the LEDs here are lit up red, so that's our first bank. Our second bank, if you just depress 2 of the foot switches, goes to our green bank. You can load up 4 different micro preamps on your green bank. And finally, if you hit the last 2, we go to our yellow bank, and you can again load up 4 different micro preamps. Another really cool feature is the ability to control your Preamp Live with your phone. So if you want to load a different preamp, you can do that. There's, I think, 50 on here. Let me just scroll through. Hopefully you guys can see this. But anyway, yeah, I think there's 50 plus some empty banks that you could store stuff. So lots of different options. And then you can sort of preview them just by scrolling through on your phone, and you can see the EQ, the gain, the banks are all changing as I just select whichever one I want. And then from there, it's just a matter of grabbing a slider and you can even see that on the unit in real time as it adjusts. So really, really cool. It works absolutely seamlessly, so I've been really impressed with that. If you would rather edit through your computer, there's a USB on the back, and you can do that as well. And the other section is the cabinet section, so you can select a bunch of different cabs to choose from, which is really cool too. And then different mics, and so on and so forth. You can change where the mic is on the virtual speaker, the tubes. So really great full-featured app. All right, some final thoughts on the Preamp Live. First of all, this thing's built like a tank. It's made to tour, it's made to be on stage, it's built really robust, so I love that. Secondly, I just love how user intuitive it is. How big the knobs are, how, every single parameter has LED indicators. Really, really nice. Really easy to use. If you just want to tweak a sound, it's as simple as going down, adjusting something, pressing and holding, and it's saved. So really easy to use. Another thing I absolutely love, as I mentioned before, is the selectable cab sim. So if you've invested in some aftermarket ones via software on your computer, you can just turn these ones off and use ones you're comfortable with. But I found these ones to be really great. Obviously, all the tones I played for you guys were just stock out of the unit. So I think it sounds great, but I love the flexibility that it gives to the user. And it doesn't make the player kind of conform to what Mooer wants you to do. It gives you the flexibility to dial in the tones that you want. Now, if you're the type of player that just wants a straight ahead, easy to use overdrive pedal, this is the one to get. Axe, Fex, Kemper, Helix is all great, but they're all super expensive and maybe have a bunch of features that you don't want, and you're going to be menu diving and all that kind of stuff. This one's straight ahead, easy to use, sounds just as good. And you can always add, your modulation effects. If you want to add a delay pedal or something like that, you can always add it through the effects return. So great pedal, really easy to use, great tones. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. I hope you enjoyed this demo of the Mooer Preamp Live. Have an awesome week, you guys. We'll see you next time with a new video. Take care.